Hello, English 9 students. Today you're going to review pronoun usage. And in this tutorial, you will learn to understand the purpose of pronouns, to identify and use pronouns correctly, and to recognize indefinite pronouns. So what are pronouns? A little review. What if the English language didn't use words such as he, she, them, her, we, or us, or themselves? We'd have to say things like Cam and Kristen went to Cam and Kristen's house to get Cam and Kristen some lunch. We would probably get tired of repeating the names, wouldn't we? The words we use to replace other words are called pronouns. A pronoun can replace a noun or another pronoun that names a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. An example of using pronouns, Cam and Kristen went to their house to get themselves some lunch. So it makes the sentence sound a lot less repetitive. Singular and plural pronouns. A pronoun that refers to one person, place, thing, or idea is a singular pronoun. A pronoun that refers to more than one person, place, thing, or idea is a plural pronoun. Let's take a look at some examples. So here you can see the singular pronouns highlighted in blue. He flies a kite with his sister. She always enjoys it. And here you can see the plural pronouns highlighted in blue. They love to fly kites. We see them in the park every day. Personal pronouns. A personal pronoun refers to the one speaking, first person, the one spoken to, second person, or the one spoken about, third person. So here's some examples of first person pronouns. Again, these indicate the one who is speaking. In the singular form, they would be I, me, my, or mine. An example of that, I took the map out of my backpack. A plural example would be we, us, our, or ours. And an example of that being used, we have our cell phones with us. Second person pronouns indicate the one spoken to. So example of these in the singular form would be you, your, or yours. You each have your ID tag. And in the plural form, this should look familiar, you, your, or yours. They're the same pronouns. Students, you know that the future is yours. Finally, third person pronouns indicate the ones spoken of. In the singular form, they are she, he, it, her, him, her, hers, or his. So she has her little brother's trust. And in the plural form, they, them, their, and theirs. An example of that would be they can find their way through the subway system. Different kinds of pronouns. So we have nominative or subject pronouns. So nominative pronouns are used as the subjects of sentences, or they can be used as predicate nominatives, and examples of them would be he, she, we, they, you, or it. So an example sentence, he is late today, he is my subject. We don't know where Luis is, we is my subjective pronoun or my nominative pronoun. And then the teen in the car, the blue car, is she. So she is my predicate nominative pronoun. Objective pronouns are used as direct objects, indirect objects, or objects of prepositions. Examples would be him, her, them, or us. Did Jerry call them? He gave her an incorrect number. The call was not for him. So you can see the objective pronouns here. They are the object of the sentence, or they're receiving the action of the sentence. Possessive pronouns are used to show ownership or relationship. His, her, their, your, mine, its. Examples, this is her coat, but the gloves are his. Their jackets are hanging here. I don't know where your boots are. So all of these are showing possession of objects. Reflexive pronouns refer back to the subject and direct the action of the verb back to the subject. Examples would be himself, herself, themselves, ourselves. The girls took pictures of themselves, so the pronoun themselves is referring back to the girls. Tina had not looked at herself in the mirror before she snapped the picture. Herself is referring back to Tina. Finally, indefinite pronouns do not refer to a specific person, place, thing, or idea. Examples being all, each, most, one, another, either, nobody. Some example sentences: all the students are ready for school to be out. Nobody wants to take summer classes. Nominative pronouns. So as you've learned, here are some examples of nominative pronouns. So before noon, I will take the bus home. You must try this pie. He is a good singer. Can she speak Polish? They bought new chairs. It was a silly hat. After the show, we need to leave. So all of these are being used as the subjects of sentences. So a nominative pronoun can be either the subject of a sentence or a predicate nominative. A predicate nominative follows a linking verb like am, is, are, or was, and it renames the subject. For example, the singer is she. So is the pronoun in each sentence a subject or a predicate nominative? Drag the sentences to the correct box. So I've already done that. Let's take a look. We entered the contest. In this example, we is being used as the subject of the sentence. In these two examples, we have the pronouns being used as predicate nominative. So the winners were they, and the speaker will be he. So each of these pronouns follows a linking verb, and it renames the subject of the sentence. Nominative pronouns. A compound subject includes more than one subject joined by and or. Compound subjects should include nominative pronouns. So to tell whether you are using the correct form of a pronoun, try each pronoun separately with the verb. All right, so she and I played a board game. So always name yourself last in a compound subject. Say you and I, not I and you. So she and I is my compound subject. In this example, she played a board game, I played a board game. So both of these are saying the same exact thing. In this one, we have two sentences, and this one we've combined into one using a compound subject, she and I. Remember that a nominative pronoun can be either the subject of a sentence or a predicate nominative. So select any sentences that use nominative pronouns correctly. This sentence, it is being used correctly here. They just moved here from India. So they is the subject of this sentence in this example. In this one, we do not have the pronoun being used correctly here. Janelle and me always study together. So in this case, I have a compound subject, Janelle and me, but it actually should be I because that's part of the subject of my sentence. The taller of the two girls was she. So here I have she being used as a predicate nominative, and it's following the linking verb was. The quarterback is him. So at first glance, this one may look correct because it looks similar to the sentence that came previously. The pronoun here is a predicate nominative, but it needs to be in a different form. It needs to be he and not him. So it should read, the quarterback is he. Objective pronouns. Objective pronouns can be direct objects, words that tell who or what receives the action of the verb. So Leroy raced our group to the end of the pool. If we were to switch this and replace our group with a pronoun, we would change it to us. Us is an objective pronoun, right? It's receiving the action from the verb. Next example, Irene found baby Tim playing in the closet. So if I were to use an objective pronoun instead of baby Tim, I would use him. Irene found him playing in the closet. Last one, struggling, the hiker pushed the trees out of the way. So if I wanted to use an objective pronoun instead of trees, I would use them. Struggling, the hiker pushed them out of the way. An objective pronoun can be an indirect object telling to whom or for whom an action is done. For example, Daniel gave her a present. The indirect object her tells to whom Daniel gave a present. The mail carrier handed us our mail. So us tells to whom the mail carrier handed the mail, right? Who's receiving that? Grandmother sang them a funny song. So them tells for whom the funny song was sung. Finally, you. Alvin bought you a new computer game. So you tells for whom the game was bought. Objective pronouns can also appear in prepositional phrases. These are phrases that begin with words such as before, beside, above, until, in, and of, and end with a naming word or pronoun. For example, about. This book is about him. So him is the object of the preposition. After. June ran after us. Us is the object of the preposition. By. The article by him was interesting. Him is the object of the preposition. From. Her is the object. I'm sorry. Take the hammer from her. So her is the object of the preposition. Another one, near. Cow sat quite near them. So them is the object of the preposition. According to her, the book was dull. So her is the object of the preposition. Under it was a small mouse. It is the object of the preposition. And finally, with. Go with them immediately. So them is the object of the preposition. A compound object contains more than one noun or pronoun. Objective pronouns are used in compound objects. So select the image on the right to see an example. Listen to her and me. So name yourself last in a compound object. So her and me, not me and her. This sounds really weird to our ears because most of the time we're taught to say like Mrs. Kirchhoff and I, but that's only if you're using that compound subject, or that's only if you're using it as a compound subject. If it's the object of your sentence, you have to change that I to me because me is the objective pronoun. So listen to her, listen to me is saying the same thing, but in the top example, it just makes it a little more precise, a little less wordy and repetitive. So far, you've learned that objective pronouns may be direct objects, indirect objects, or objects of prepositions. So in this box, you can see that all of these objective pronouns are being used correctly. So after practice, the coach sent us home. The movie completely confused them. It's easier for Tanner or her to reach the box. Rainey talked to her for 2 hours. This example, it's not being used correctly. If I were to drag it over here, it will tell me the Rangers called Carl and I is not correct. It should be Carl and me because me is the objective pronoun. Who and whom. The pronoun who is the nominative case. The pronoun whom is the objective case. This is true no matter where the pronoun falls in the sentence. Select the image below to see some examples. To test your choice of pronouns, replace who with he or she and replace whom with him or her. You can even rearrange the sentence if that helps. So who is she? If I'm trying to figure out if it should be who or whom, like if I wasn't sure, well, maybe it's whom is she, I could rephrase the sentence and say, I don't know who she is. So by using the word she, that's telling me I need to use who. Here's another one. Whom can you trust? I don't know whom I can trust. So rephrasing it kind of lets me know which pronoun to use. Who will make the call? If I were to replace the word who, I could state he will make the call. So he equals who. Whom did you call? If I rephrase this as a sentence, you called her tells me it's objective and whom is objective as well. As you know, the pronoun who is the nominative case. The pronoun whom is the objective case. For each sentence, drag the pronoun into the appropriate box. Number 1, Abigail was the one blank called for a vote. So in this case, my pronoun who is referring to Abigail, or my pronoun in question is referring to Abigail. She's the subject of the sentence. Can I drag these? Let's see here. Bear with me. Well, I'm not sure why this isn't working, but this one should be who. Abigail was the one who called for a vote. Number 2, to blank, should I give the ballot? So if I were to answer this question and rephrase it, I should give the ballots to him. Him equals whom in this case. Number 3, we elected Dan, blank the whole class supports. So my pronoun here is referring to Dan. Dan is the object of my sentence, right? Because we is my subject. So I would need to use whom here. We elected Dan, whom the whole class supports. And then finally, Dan, blank is our new class president, wants to have a fundraiser. So in this case, Dan is my subject. The pronoun refers to Dan, so I need to use who. Dan, who is our new class president, wants to have a fundraiser. Possessive pronouns. So these pronouns show ownership. Some of the pronouns appear before nouns to show who owns that, or who owns what. Other possessive pronouns follow verbs and stand on their own. My, that is my book. That's being used as a pronoun. That book belongs to me. So it's showing possession. Ours. Which car is ours? Which car belongs to us? This is your pen. This pen belongs to you. Which is his jacket? Which jacket belongs to him? The house is theirs, pronoun. The house belongs to them. That magazine is hers. The magazine belongs to her. That was its problem. The problem belonged to it. So you can see the relationship between the objects in question and then the pronouns that are showing possession of the objects. You should never use an apostrophe with a possessive pronoun. Do not confuse the contraction its, its, meaning it is, with the pronoun its, its, meaning belonging to it. So the only difference there is the apostrophe, but it makes a huge difference because one stands for it is, whereas the other one shows possession. So is the underlined word a possessive pronoun? Yes or no? Erica's pet ferret lost its new collar. So here, the collar belongs to the ferret. This is showing possession. Yes, it is. Erica thinks it's probably in the backyard. So I have an apostrophe here. If I can substitute it is, Erica thinks that it is probably in the backyard. This one is not showing possession because it's a contraction. It's short for it is. Reflexive pronouns. A reflexive pronoun ends in self or selves. Singular reflective pronouns include myself, yourself, himself, herself, or itself. Plural reflexive pronouns include ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. So is the pronoun in each sentence singular or plural? Drag the sentence into the correct box. So Joan gave herself credit for trying hard. So Joan is my subject. She's singular. Herself refers back to Joan, also singular, so they match up. The plural examples, please make yourselves comfortable. So yourselves is referring to more than one person. This is a command, so it's not referring back to anything. The boys bought themselves snacks. So boys is plural. Themselves refers back to the boys, also plural. They match up. Remember that a reflexive pronoun refers back to the subject of a sentence and directs the action of the verb back to the subject. So I made the necklace myself, Caitlin said shyly. So myself is referring back to I. They're both in first person, and they're both singular. Rico slipped on the necklace and looked at herself in the mirror. So herself refers back to Rico, and both of those are the subject. Rico's the subject, herself is subjective. This example is not used correctly. I think ourselves should wear these to the concert. So in this case, I is my subject, it's singular, but ourselves is plural. So they don't quite match up. We could probably change this to something else so that it's in agreement. Finally, indefinite pronouns. An indefinite pronoun is a word that does not refer to a specific or definite person or thing. Indefinite pronouns include either, nobody, several, no one, and somebody. Select each indefinite pronoun to see it used in a sentence. Anybody. Anybody can learn to drive. Anybody is always a singular pronoun. Few believe that the earth is flat. So few refers to more than one, and it's plural. It can also be used as an adjective, such as few people believe the earth is flat. Neither. Neither understands the directions. Neither means not one or the other, so it's singular. None. None of our friends were convinced of his argument. None of the equipment is for sale. None can be singular or plural depending on how it's used in the sentence. So in this first example, none refers to the plural object friends. Therefore, it's plural. Finally, some. Some of the signs are intended for pedestrians. Some of the story is humorous. Some can be singular or plural depending on how it's used. So in the first sentence, some refers to the plural object signs, therefore it's plural. In the second sentence, it refers to the story, which makes it singular. So personal pronouns refer to specific people and things, and definite pronouns do not. So you can see in this example, these are being used correctly and contain indefinite pronouns. So anything is possible in the 21st century. Anything is my indefinite. Everyone is ready to continue the lesson. Everyone is my indefinite. And then in times of stress, one must stay calm. So anything, everyone, and one are all pronouns that do not indicate a specific person or thing. On this side, most prefer to travel by subway nowadays. This one also is using an indefinite pronoun, right? Most is not referring to a specific group. This example, though, the librarian paid for the new books herself. I am referring to somebody specific here. I'm referring to the librarian. So if I try to drag this over, it's going to bounce out. So in summary, a pronoun is a word used in place of one or more nouns or pronouns. A pronoun can be singular or plural. Some types of pronouns include nominative, objective, possessive, reflexive, and indefinite. A reflexive pronoun ends in self or selves. Unlike a personal pronoun, an indefinite pronoun does not refer to a specific person or thing. So there's a little quiz here at the end. Unfortunately, since I've taught this lesson before, all the answers are selected, but take a look. What kind of pronoun is the bold-faced word? So on this side, everything on the menu looks delicious. So we just went over this actually. Everything is my pronoun. It's not referring to one specific thing, and so it makes it an indefinite pronoun. Number 2, choose the correct pronoun to complete the sentence. Marianne and blank perform the duet. So here I have a compound subject, Marianne and blank, so that means I need to use a subjective pronoun or nominative pronoun, same thing. And in this case, I would need to use I. So I is the nominative pronoun here. Number 3, what's the correct spelling of the bold-faced word? The boat had lost its anchor and floated away. So the pronoun in question is its, its. This is showing possession, right? The anchor belonged to the boat. So this is correct as it is. I don't need to change it. It's not an abbreviation for it is, this first option. This second option actually doesn't exist. That's not really a word. So it's good to go. Which is the correct form of this sentence? The professor, who I admire greatly, listened carefully to the recording. So you can see here my first sentence is correct. The professor whom I admire greatly listened carefully to the recording. So I change who to whom because I'm referring to a direct object here. Number 5, how should this sentence be changed? The children excused theirselves and went upstairs. I need to change theirselves to themselves because I'm referring back to the plural subject, children. How should this sentence be rewritten? The answer seemed fairly simple once it was explained to she and I. So in this case, at first it sounds correct to our ears, she and I, but my subject of the sentence is the answer. That's what I'm talking about. So she and I need to change that to she and me because both pronouns are objects of the preposition. I need to name myself last, and these are being used objectively. So congratulations, you've just completed this Edpuzzle tutorial assignment on pronouns. Please let us know if you have any more questions and have a great day. Go Bears!